time now for your Financial Feud. Today's topic, the economy is poised to grow, so is President Biden succeeding? That's the question, and our many men are joining us to answer. From the great state of Texas, business and market analyst Seth Denson, and hailing from New Jersey, accounting professor at Montclair State University, Dan Geltrude. Welcome to both of you for round two of our Financial Feud.
Good morning, Rachel.
This is going to be fun. All right, Dan.
It's kind of hokey, but all right, well,
but just go with it, Rob.
Yeah.
Just go with it, okay? Yeah, see? Seth's got his boxing gloves up and ready to go. Let's start with you, Dan. You say President Biden's economic plan is working. Tell us why.
Well, I think the key to the economic recovery here, Rachel, has always been the vaccines. Now, the vaccine process started with Operation Warp Speed with President Trump. However, the distribution has come under the Biden administration. So we have to give each the appropriate credit for what they've been able to do. Now, the economic comeback we're experiencing, well, it was to be expected, no question about it. We knew once we started to come out of this pandemic and the economy was going to open up, that things were going to be in a full charge. And we see that happening. And we are certainly seeing the short-term benefits. The key, however, is what does the Biden administration do going forward to manage this economy? We have a real danger of overstimulating it, so we need to be careful.
Okay, and we'll get back to that in a second. Seth, I see you itching to respond. What do you think the president's doing wrong?
Well, let's just be very clear. And again, I appreciate Dan's respect to the president, but even those that fall out of a boat can hit water. Let's really break down what the president has done. Well, first of all, day one, he shut down the Keystone Pipeline. This cost us thousands of jobs, and for reasons I can't fathom outside of maybe kowtowing to the left, especially when those like Canada said there was no reason to, and even Biden's own energy secretary said pipelines work. They're a great way of transporting oil. So he also waived sanctions for companies overseeing the Nord Stream 2, which, again, I thought that global climate issues were a global issue, but nonetheless, I guess that doesn't necessarily apply for the Biden administration. He rejoined the Paris Climate Accord. Again, only reason other than crippling the U.S. economy is kowtowing. He's paying people to stay home this summer. I think that here's the reality. The president is succeeding, not because of what he's done, rather in spite of what he's done.
Interesting. All right. And Dan, you talked a bit about the future just a moment ago. Let's say President Biden's $6 trillion budget plan is predicting an economic growth for the next decade. Do you agree with that?
Well, it's really hard to predict economic growth, and certainly $6 trillion is way too much. But let's not just blanket over that number. We have to look at this and say there are some important aspects of spending, one of which is infrastructure. Now, I don't know how things are down in Texas, but in New Jersey, our roads and bridges and tunnels are a mess. So we need upgrades. And I think there's some necessary spending there to be done. So I am not against all of the spending. I think it needs to be selective spending. And if we do that right, the growth can be maintained in a way that, well, again, we don't overstimulate the economy.
Seth, let's talk about that growth. The Biden administration estimating a healthy rebound from coronavirus, a growth of 5.2% this year. Do you see that happening?
Yeah, I absolutely do. Now, future years, that's the big question here. Any economist worth their salt, whether they lean right or lean left, recognizes the economy is on an uphill chart. That being said, I believe that the Biden administration was able to get into the sports car that the Trump administration built and put it on cruise control. And that's effectively where we're at. But as Dan just alluded to, if the Biden administration continues to push for all this spending, they're going to overinflate the economy. They're going to spend way too much money. And that means recovery down the road is going to be hard to get.
All right, Dan, you touched a bit at the top about inflation. By 2023, President Biden's plan sees a growth of 2% when adjusted with inflation. From 2024 to 2029, GDP is going to grow just under 2%. Do you see these projections as a step in the right direction?
Well, again, those are just projections, and we don't know what will happen going forward. A lot of that will be based upon what policies we have in place. Now, keep in mind, Just because there are certain things that Joe Biden wants to do and the administration wants to do doesn't mean he will get them. These things have to get through Congress. And even if the Republicans, well, they don't have all that much of a say, there are some moderate Democrats that are going to, well, put some reins on the Biden administration's spending. And to me, that is the real danger. So if moderate Democrats can rein things in, I think we can have sustained growth because the country is ready for it.
All right, last question to you, Seth. In this plan, debt's projected to rise by 117% by 2031. That's the highest since World War II. What does that do to our economy in the long run?
Yeah, and let's be clear, Rachel, that's based on current spending. If this $6 trillion budget goes through, that's going to be over 200% by 2045. So this devalues the dollar as well as our U.S. credibility. Let's just be very clear. The Biden administration or President Biden was the #2 man on the first credit downgrade that the United States ever saw. He sounds like he's trying to be the #1 man on the second downgrade. Inflation is coming. This is going to allow other countries to step in and be the global leader and get their currency, like China, out into circulation.
All right, Seth Denson, Dan Geltrude, you guys are such polite fighters. I'm expecting some like bloody noses, knockouts next week when we have another Financial Feud. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Rachel.
Thanks, Rachel.
All right, you're watching Wake Up America, and we'll be right back.